ask, what is the best way for a SMME or a medium-sized company to engage a corporate in 2023?
Sure, that's a difficult one because I just think back to my days in corporate. There were a dime a dozen that the guys were coming through wanting to do business with big corporates. But the biggest thing for me, I would think, is your tenacity. Like, do not give up. You're going to get 100 no's before you get one yes. And another thing for me is have a concise bank of case studies. Like, that is important because a lot of guys just send your profile and then they just email it, and they just email it to anyone. As long as they get a contact in procurement, they get it. Try and establish who the actual role players are. Like, there's no point in sending your profile to the head of facilities. They're going to just put it in file 13. Because in a big corporate, people are only worried about what's in front of them. So find out who the main role players are and do not give up. So email, call, email the marketing people, email the procurement people, because in a corporate, particularly, they are linked. So I'm a procurement person. I partner with the marketing team. So if you want to get into events, know who the marketing players are in Nedbank, for lack of a better example. Find out who those people are. Email them. Email your proposals. Email your profiles, etc. So that go to networking events. I mean, if they've got networking opportunities, please use them because you have to get an in. Unfortunately, for private procurement, they don't advertise. They're not obliged to advertise their tenders. So all they do is they go and do their research. They come up with a list of people that they want to invite, and they invite. So if you are not in top of mind, you will not be invited. I've had many small suppliers. I'm like, sure, I have to invite this guy. He emails me 3 times a week. Let's put him in the process. So you've got to be top of mind.
Tara, maybe let me double click on what you're saying. So firstly, you are highlighting the fact that there are private contractors who are working for large corporates that are driving some of the procurement. That's what you're stating, right?
Correct.
So it's not an obvious thing for everyone around the room to know that.
Correct.
So these private contractors, how does one find them? So how does one find somebody like yourself if you are not at this forum? Do we go to procurement in the main organization, ask them if they have private contractors? How do we close that loop for anybody wanting to?
Yeah, so most of the guys, you go to procurement. Most of the corporates have like an info at, where you email guys. Most of them have a supply development email address, so you can use those facilities. And like I said, if you go to networking functions, then you meet up with the contractors that obviously work in the corporates, and then obviously try and get hold of who the actual employees are in procurement. So who's the head of procurement for Nedbank? Who's the head of procurement for Hollard? If you look on their websites, you will find there's email addresses, there's phone numbers. Use them. Unfortunately, as a small business, you're going to have to cold call. You're going to have to do the number one thing that we have to do. You're going to have to cold call, you're going to have to find the people and then just pester them.
Look, having been an entrepreneur for a long time, I know exactly that journey that you're talking about, and it's a painful one.
It is a painful one.
I guess maybe where we're trying to get to is how do we unlock, but maybe let's park that one for now. Maybe Edna, can you try and add to the question on what's the best way? I mean, from your end, you would be speaking from a marketing director perspective. How would SMEs and medium-sized companies engage large organizations like the ones you're involved in?
Yeah, I think for us, in my experience, we are deliberate about making sure that we get SMEs on board by partnering with ESD, but we also, before any big RFP that needs to go out, whether we are looking for PR agencies or digital agencies, even about Waria Creative, we actually invite within the marketing community people to nominate agencies that they would like us to put forward, and we will also take some of the proposal that we received via email and we put it through. Then it goes through the sifting process, they get invitation, then they have to go through the process. We've seen with that's when we've seen some very small agencies that really have good talent, even if they don't make it to the top, but they can be like a tier 3 or tier 4, or we can also recommend for them to work and collaborate with other agencies. So I still think in the industry, we still need to formalize that, but it's a deliberate action by corporates to really choose to want to build SMMEs and youth and have that procurement mentality. Because if we don't do that, you know that all the big 4 or the big 5 agencies will always win the pitch, and they'll go all out to make sure that they win the pitch. And these small agencies don't have the resources to invest when they have to go and pitch for businesses.